आप जो ज़ौजा शरीफ फकीर है, ज़ौजा को नहीं दे सकते क्योंकि वो तो आपके वापस ही आएगा. You can't give it to your spouse. So the wife can't give it to the husband, the husband can't give it to the wife. Why? Because in actual fact, your friend is going to come back to you. It's going to benefit you. So this is why it's so important that we know who we can give to. That's going to come at the end, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala, and who we cannot give to, inshallah.
Ji. Just I want to know about the family members. One we say Sir Zada.
Ji, ji.
And how we can do they're not like any children or anything.
So they have their offsprings, उनके औलाद होती है तो उनको शजरा से पता चल जाता है, तो उनके जो नस्ब है आल औलाद है उनको पता चल जाता है क्योंकि शजरा है. तो ऑब्वियसली पहले बातचीत करनी होती है और जो बंदा जो है शरई तौर पर जो उसको दे सकते हैं तो उसमें जी हाँ वो जैसे हाशमी जो है जी जी हाशमी look it says who is not a हाशमी, और जो हाशमी की तारीफ है जो सैयदना अली, सैयदना जाफर, सैयदना अकी, सैयदना अब्बास, सैयदना हारिस की जो औलाद है वो सब हाशमी में आते हैं, और आले रसूल सादात है वो सैयदना अली यानी इमाम हसन इमाम हुसैन की औलाद होती है. So this is what it is. मगर ये इसकी डेफिनेशन जो लिखा हुआ यही है. Now we're going to be discussing about now zakatable goods, anwalul zakat. Now there are 6 things in which we give zakat upon. Number 1, gold. Number 2, silver. Number 3, currency. Number 4, business stock. Number 5, sa'ima, grazing animals. And number 6, ushri lands. Now, today we're only going to focus on the first 4. This is more applicable to us in the UK. In comparison to sa'ima, grazing animals, and ushri land, this is more focused upon the subcontinent, India, Pakistan, around there. It's not that focused upon within the UK generally, but if someone is a farmer and has these types of things, he should direct himself to the mufti, then he can assist him and help him in what he should do. But however, today, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala, we're going to discuss about 4 things today: gold, silver, currency, and business stock. So if you want to write this down, gold, silver, currency, business stock, this is the 4 things that we'll be focusing in more detail today, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala. So the elaboration will be coming ahead, inshallah. Give you about 30 seconds to write this down. MashaAllah. At the end, I would like to see your notes as well, inshallah. See how much notes we've got. Subhanallah.
No.
That as well, I don't mind that one. Okay. So now when it comes to gold and when it comes to silver. Now, gold nisab means the amount is 20 dinars, which is 7.5 tola, and 7.5 tola is 87.48 grams. Now, each tola, 1 tola is like a measurement that they use, especially in the subcontinent, tola. Like they measure the gold, they measure the silver in this amount. Like if you go to a blacksmith and they're talking tole, you're probably thinking, what is going on? What is tola? But tola is a measurement that they use to weigh the gold, weigh the silver, and 1 tola is approximately in grams 11.664 grams. 1 tola 11.664 grams hai takriban. So write that down as well. This will benefit you. All these numbers, quite a lot of numbers going to be discussed as well today. So 1 tola equals 11.664 grams. So how do we work out 87.48 grams? 7.5 times by 11.664 would have given us the answer 87.48 grams for gold. Now silver, which we're going to mainly focus upon silver quite a bit today. Okay, we're going to focus upon gold as well, but our main focus will also be upon silver. Now silver is 200 dirhams, which is $52.5. Now $52.5 equals to 612.36 grams. Now how do we get to 612.36 grams? We did 52.5 times 11.664, which led us to 612.36 grams. And it will come easy. When we go ahead, you'll understand this more in detail. You're probably hearing this the first time about these tolas, about these grams, about this and about that. Why is it so important for us to know? We'll understand when we get onto the next slide why it's so important for us to know the tolas, for us to know the grams, for us to know the dinars and dirhams. The reason I mention grams is it's more easier for our brothers over here to understand. Tola, हमारे बुजुर्ग tola समझते हैं कि tola क्या होता है. But the youngsters don't really understand tola in much detail. This is why it's so important that we understand that how do we get to 87.48 grams for gold and how do we get to 612.36 grams for silver. We times it by, what do we times it by? 11.664, mashallah. Now, when it comes to gold and silver, now silver and gold can be in any form, such as jewelry, coins, utensils, and showpieces. Now, zakat of gold and silver owned by a woman is froze on her. If your spouse, your wife, has gold, has silver, is in her ownership, and it reaches the threshold amount that makes them necessary to give zakat, which we're going to discuss in the next slide, then that is froze upon the woman. The husband doesn't have to give it. या बात समझ लें, जब आपकी ज़ौजा के ऊपर काफी सोना मौजूद है, चांदी मौजूद है और वो निसाब तक पहुंचता है, वो उसके ऊपर लाजिम है, आपके ऊपर लाजिम नहीं कि उसकी आप ज़कात अदा करें. जब आपने अदा करनी आप कर सकते हैं. If you want to fulfill it, you want to give the zakat on behalf of your wife, it generally happens. The husband generally gives zakat from behalf of his wife. You can do so. But by Shariat, by Islam, is not necessary upon you. If the wife owns that gold, owns that silver, it reaches the threshold amount, then it's lazim upon her. She must give it. Now, you could say, वो तो काम नहीं करती, तो वो कैसे दें? मगर जब इतनी रकम, इतना सोना रखा हुआ, इतना चांदी रखी हुई है, तो बेचे वो, sell it. Sell it and give the zakat. मगर obviously ये तो नहीं होता. तो कोई बेचेगा, no one's going to sell it. Every day the gold and silver is increasing. And I'm so shocked about silver, which I'll tell you on the next slide, that why I'm so shocked about the price increasing of silver. But however, the summary is, if the wife has gold, has silver, and she reaches the threshold amount, the nisab amount that she's eligible to give the zakat, then it's upon her to give it, it's not upon the husband. If the husband wants to give it, he can do so. He lets the wife know that I'm giving the zakat. You make the intention and fulfill the zakat on her behalf. The zakat will be complete. Now, whether she's wearing the gold, whether she's not wearing the gold, you have to give zakat on all the jewelry. बाज़ औक़ात ये होता है कि जो सोना पहना हुआ है उस पे लोग समझ zakat नहीं है. People think that if the woman's wearing gold, like she's got jewelry on, she's wearing bangles, she's got earrings, all the type of jewelry she's wearing, the jewelry that she's wearing, the gold that she's wearing, the silver that she's wearing, because she's wearing it, that gold and silver's in use, that zakat's not applicable on that, that is wrong. Zakat is also applicable on the jewelry that she is wearing and the jewelry that she isn't wearing. You have to give zakat upon that as well. Now, when the metals are mixed, pure or mixed with metals, if gold and silver are dominant, then they'll be classified as gold and silver. So let's say if like 60% of the ring is gold and 40% is other materials, that whole thing will be classed as gold. But if, for example, 40% is gold and 60% is other metals, then that 40% is where you give the zakat upon. So you'll have to, you normally when you buy from the jewelers or the blacksmith, they'll tell you the purity of the item, how much gold it actually has in it. Okay, sometimes 99% of gold within the item. Sometimes they'll tell you, okay, there's this much carats. Then you have to go in detail to find out how much gold is actually within the item. So if it's less than 50%, okay, then only upon that gold and silver amount, which is less than 50%, let's say it's 40%, 30%, you give zakat upon that. Anything more, 60%, 70%, 80%, you'll have to give zakat on the whole item, the whole ring itself, the whole jewelry itself. Otherwise, it'll be calculated just to what it is in terms of how much gold and silver within the item is. Any questions on this slide? If you ask me and the answer's coming ahead, I'll just say it's coming ahead, G.
Nowadays, platinum and vanadium, if they have that, they're trying to avoid the harm. So it is cost more. Any other valuable material?
So it's only upon gold and silver. That's it. If they've got, what's it called, platinum, if they've got any other metal, diamonds, no zakat on that. No zakat on diamonds unless we will explain ahead of a business stock. That will become in a different scenario then. But generally, diamonds, there's no zakat on diamonds, emeralds, ruby, platinum, other metals, there's no zakat on that. Only upon the gold and silver, there's zakat on. Yeah, you pay full.
And let's say, if, for example, sometimes a husband gives pocket money to wife. He gone and saving money and get gold.
Yeah, so you made that money in her own.
Like this, that needs to give zakat because it's hers on her. So husband can say, okay, whatever is extra, your mom, you can give it to me, I buy it. I pay rest of your zakat. Later on, he can give to her or like he can make it. Sometimes if husband not has money, he can say like, okay, whatever zakat on that material, we can sell it.
Yes, so sell the gold. Yeah, you sell the gold.
Make it that money, the zakat money, then
Yeah, so how, if for example you don't have no money but you have gold, you have to sell the gold and you'll pay the zakat, whatever's remainder they have to pay. You'll have to do that. Now coming to currency. Now I've got, it says today's nisab, but the top one I've kept on. This was in 2019. In 2019, if you had £248 and 1 pence, you would become sahib-e-nisab in 2019. That is not the nisab today. The nisab today, I worked out yesterday that if you have £1,494 or more, you are classed as rich in Sharia. You classed as ghani in Sharia, where you now become sahib-e-nisab and you're eligible to give zakat. So now this is your today's nisab. If you write this down, today's nisab, which was actually yesterday's nisab, and I don't think it's fluctuate much. So it's round about 1,500, 1,494 pound. So it's very important. This is a nisab. Now, why are we stressing upon nisab? So let's say, for example, today someone gave you £1,500. Someone gave you £1,500. That's more than the nisab. And let's say it's the 15th of Sha'ban. 15th of Sha'ban, just give me an example. 15th of Sha'ban. Someone gave you £1,500 as a gift. Okay, or the parents gave it to their 17-year-old child. They gave him £1,500 as a gift. Okay, now that day he has become rich. That day, the year for zakat has now started for him. Okay, because he's more than the threshold amount. So this is why it's so important to work out the nisab amount. The nisab meaning the amount that makes you eligible to give zakat. Now, how do you work that out? Okay, if you could write this down on your notes, which I'm going to mention to you now. Value of 1 gram of silver. I normally use bullion by post. So online there's a link called bullion by post. So you write on Google, value of 1 gram of silver. ये लिख लें 1 ग्राम of silver की कीमत कितनी है. Google से मिल जाता है. You'll find it off Google. Value of 1 gram of silver. The day when I checked it, I think it was £2.29, 1 gram of silver. When it was about a good 8 years ago, it was at 70p. Is it £2.47? Allah, it's increased. £2.47 today. So let's take that amount, £2.47, which is today the value of 1 gram of silver. And you times it by, let's see if you remember, what was the silver nisab in grams? So 1 tola is 11.664. What was the whole total? 52.5 times 11.664 equals? That's the gold one. 612.36. So what are you going to, I'm going to repeat myself again. Value of 1 gram of silver, you times it by 600 and... Oh. So let's go back, let's just refresh our memory. 612.36 times by 612.36, that will equal the nisab for today. So value of 1 gram of silver times by 612.36 equals the nisab of today. So like yesterday, I worked it out. Okay, it was 1,494. So probably today is like nearly £1,500. So it goes up and down, it fluctuates according to the value of 1 gram of silver. So value of 1 gram of silver times by 612.36 grams equals the nisab amount today in pounds. The nisab amount today? £1,512 and 12 pence. Is 12 pence? 53 pence. Nisab means that amount which Sharia, which Islam has stipulated. If you have that much in your possession, whether that's in gold, silver, currency, business stock, you're eligible to give zakat. Yes. Threshold amount. Okay. Threshold amount. The amount that's stipulated, fixed by Islam, fixed by Sharia. Okay. And everyone needs to work out the threshold amount. It's so important. Because when it comes to your zakat date to give, you need to work out, do I have more than the threshold amount? And how do you work out the threshold amount? Value of 1 gram of silver times by 612.36 grams. It equals the amount for that day. And every day that could fluctuate. Now going on to currency, if you...
Nisab and Nisab is related, my question. So we are just like here, we have a cash gold over here. But if we have something personal over
that'll be coming ahead. Aage. So if you have no gold or silver or business stock, remember we have 4 things that zakatable goods we're going to focus upon. Gold, silver, currency and business stock. Now if you have no gold, no silver or business stock, only cash, which I think majority of the youngsters fit in this category. Because you're working, like those 18-year-olds, especially 16, 17-year-olds, you guys are working and you're going to be getting, what's it called, money coming in your bank, okay, your pay slips, whichever company you're working from, okay, you generally don't have no gold, no silver, unless your parents have given it to you, okay, and you generally don't have no business stock, you're just going to have currency. Whether that's currency, physical currency, which you got in your hands, or whether that's currency in the bank, whether that's money in the bank, okay? So if you have no gold or silver or business stock, only cash, whether in your bank or on you, and it equals to the silver zakat rate, $52.5, equivalent to 612.36 grams, then zakat is due on that money. Then you must give zakat. And generally, obviously, zakat, if, for example, even if the child's 14, he's baligh. Okay, if he's 14 and he's baligh, or let's say someone's reached 15, he's not baligh yet, the signs of balugh have not appeared, but by Sharia, he'll be automatically classed as baligh by the age of 15. Let's take 15 years instead of the lower years, but generally 12 to 15 is where a boy becomes baligh, and 9 to 12 where a girl becomes baligha, where she is puberty. Okay, so 12 to 15 age range for the boys. Now let's say at the age of 15, your dad gives you £2,000 as a gift for your birthday. Now you got £2,000 from your dad, or not just from your dad, let's say all the relatives come. They give you Eid, they give you, what's it called, money, and you're saving it. You're saving it. You're 15-year-old, 16-year-old. You're saving it. You've got about £1,600. You are now Sahib-e-Nisab. Now you're eligible that you must give zakat. Your year has now started. We're going to discuss about the years coming ahead. We're building upon each one thing, inshallah, when we come ahead. अभी वो आएगा, ये आपका साल शुरू हो गया है, तो अगले साल का फिर निसाब देखेंगे उस दिन का, जिस दिन आप साहब निसाब हुए हैं, मिसाल 15 शाबान इस साल, तो अगले साल 15 शाबान आप देखेंगे कि निसाब कितना था, और जब आप निसाब से ज्यादा हैं तो आप अपना जो 2.5% उस माल से आप देंगे, तो वो आगे इंशाल्लाह आएगा. So these days, because silver is cheaper, remember we went through 2 nisabs, gold and silver, didn't we, at the start? Because silver is cheaper compared to gold, and the one becomes the holder of nisab with less money, holder of the threshold with less money. So the scholars this day have said that you work out your zakat according to the silver nisab, not gold. Why? Because you will benefit the fakir more. जिसमें फुकरा का ज्यादा फायदा हो, उस निसाब पर आप चलेंगे. जैसे हम मिसाल देते हैं कि एक जमाना ऐसा होता है कि चांदी महंगा हो जाता है और सोना सस्ता हो जाता है. Let's say a time comes, I don't think it will come, but if a time comes like this, you never know, where silver becomes more expensive than gold. Silver becomes more expensive than gold, then automatically the nisab will turn to the gold. Okay? Why? Because the main focus that we want to give for zakat is it benefits the poor people more. So whatever the nisab is less, where you become rich quicker within Islam, which is the silver nisab, where you become rich quicker and you have to give zakat out of your wealth, this is what we would choose, the silver nisab. Why? Because it benefits the fuqara, it benefits the poor. This is why silver nisab is chosen over the gold nisab. समझ आया आपको कि सिल्वर चांदी का निसाब हम क्यों लेते हैं और सोने का निसाब क्यों नहीं लेते जब हम साहिब निसाब हम वर्कआउट करते हैं? क्योंकि फुकरा को ज्यादा फायदा पहुंचता है चांदी निसाब से, कि चांदी निसाब हो तो फुकरा मसाकीन को ज्यादा फायदा पहुंचता है. The poor people benefit more from which nisab? From which threshold? And which is the lesser one? Silver. Which one's the lesser one? Silver. MashaAllah. So one must give a 40th part, okay, 2.5% of the total zakatable wealth. Okay, now we're going on business stock. So we spoke about gold, silver, currency. Now fourth is business stock. Now, for your ease, inshallah, I'll make you understand. If I bought this phone with the intention of selling, okay, I bought this phone selling, and the intention remained all year through until my zakat date has come, this is now zakatable wealth. I must give zakat upon this. Like this phone, this iPad, this laptop, if I all purchased it, cars, whatever you have, you purchased the item, so you can sell it. इस नियत से आपने खरीदा कि आप बेचेंगे और ये नियत बाकी रही. Baki, this is very important word. Baki. It remained until the zakat date has come. That wealth or that product, that stock is now zakatable wealth. Now let's say, for example, someone gifted me this phone and then I want to sell this. This is not zakatable wealth. किसने मुझे तोहफे में दिया है? क्योंकि उस वक्त ये zakatable होता है. This time उसके ऊपर zakat लाजिम होती है कि आपने खुद खरीदा हो बेचने के नियत से. That's when it's zakatable wealth. और मिसाल के तौर पर किसी ने आपको विरासत मिला है. You got inheritance. You got some what's it called, a car in inheritance, okay, and now you want to sell it. That is not zakatable wealth. Or let's say, for example, I bought this to sell. मैंने इस नियत से खरीदा कि मैं उसको बेचूंगा, मगर बाद में 1 महीना बाद में मैंने सोचा मैं खुद इस्तेमाल कर लूं, मैं खुद इसको इस्तेमाल करूं, बाद में जब दिल लगे मैं उसको बेच दूंगा, तो क्या बाकी नहीं रहा कि मैंने खुद इस्तेमाल किया है, तो ये बाकी नहीं रहा, तो फिर मैंने बाद से मैंने बेचना है, तो ये ज़कातबल नहीं होगा, इसको भी ज़कात भी नहीं लाजिम होगी। सो उस वक्त फिर very important, I say once again in English, if you purchase an item or product with the intention to sell and the intention of selling remains until your zakat date has come, now this is zakatable wealth. Do you all understand? So you bought it with intention of selling, that is a continuous intention, that is now business stock. Now here, if someone, for example, bought a property to rent, you bought a property so you can rent it, okay? Or you bought it for your own need and residence, or for example, you said, if this profit, I will sell it. You never bought it with intention to sell, then there's no zakat upon that. But if you bought a property saying, I'm going to sell it on the market, and you bought it with intention to sell, you have to pay zakat on the whole amount of that property. And properties are not cheap nowadays. You have to pay zakat upon all of the amount of that property. Or if, for example, you bought a property and you thought that I will sell it, but then you start staying in it for, let's say, I'm going to stay for 6 months, and then I sell it after 6 months. Is that zakatable?
Yeah.
No, because you're staying in it, using it for your own personal needs. So it has to remain that you're selling until the zakat year has come. So keep this in mind. For business stock, you purchased it with intention of selling. That intention remains all the way through, continuous intention. That's business stock. If your intention breaks in between, you use it for personal needs, and then you sell it again after, put it on the market, or you sell it to the community, wherever you want to sell it on, then it doesn't remain zakatable goods while you used it yourself. What does? Bought category. So yeah, if you buy something with, if you buy something, are you on about this first, this one at the top? So if you purchase something with your money with the intention of selling, so like if you buy this phone off me and you want to sell this, okay? Now you purchase this for £1,000 and you have this intention all year until your date of zakat. Mashallah, you're still very young. Inshallah, in the future you'll be giving inshallah zakat, okay? So if you breach the threshold amount, so now you'll have to give zakat upon this, okay? Inshallah, we'll speak in more detail, inshallah.
Some buys a house for now, but it's a small house. He don't want it now, but he wants a bigger house for later. So he just invested his money to buy this house. In 10 years' time, he sells it and buys another house which he wants to live in. Would that be 10 years of zakat on it?
No, so he's purchasing to see, for example, if he wants to sell or not, if there's a profit. He never bought with intention of selling. So did he buy with intention of like to stay, or to, what was his intention at that time?
He wants a bigger house, but he can't buy now. He bought a small house, and he said, my money is invested, I will get rent out or whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. If it's for rent, then it's upon that rented amount. We're going to come ahead, we discuss about that on the rented amount. Any question?
Someone buys and the end intention is they're going to live in that. But they say, for now I want to put it on rent until I want to move in. Give the car, you know, because the end intention is
So because they're renting, this is not classed as zakatable goods, even though the end intention is that they're going to be selling. Because they're renting now, so it's not going to be classed as zakatable goods because of the rent.
And even let's say if I have a house, I put online from like the whole year, it's going through like continuously. And before 1 month before circumstance got changed. So I say, okay, I'm gonna leave it. Because if I lost my other businesses, I need it. So I'm gonna leave it as a normal family member in that house. So then there's no zakat on that one as well, yeah. Before the nisab coming up. जैसे अभी हम लोग घर मैंने लिया हुआ है बेचने के लिए लिया और अभी मेरा सर्कमस्टेंस चेंज हो गया लॉस हो गया मेरा बिजनेस में कुछ में तो मैंने कहा कि यार अभी तो मेरा जैसे 10 मंथ तक मैंने सेल के लिए लगा हुआ मगर सर्कमस्टेंस तो चेंज हो गया तो मैं अपना फैमिली चेंज कर दिया कि टेंशन के यार अभी तो नहीं देखेंगे उसको मैं फैमिली
जी ठीक है।
उधर रुक गया फिर उसको मेरा 2 महीने के बाद तो निसाब भी आ रहा है तो वो ज़कात तो
नहीं उसमें क्योंकि आपकी नीयत तब्दील होगी जी नीयत तब्दील होगी Now if the wealth has been combined, so we're going to look at 4 things, which is what? Gold, silver, currency, and so 4 things. Keep these 4 things in mind. Now if for example someone just has gold, has no money, has no silver, has no business stock, just gold, okay, which is very rare that someone will just have gold. A woman will have some money as well. A woman will have some sort of silver as well. If a person just has gold, nothing else, just gold, then the nisab is just the gold amount. Just the gold amount, which is 87.48 grams. Okay, which is very rare. Now, if a person just has silver, nothing else, no gold, no business stock, no currency, just silver, then the nisab is the silver amount, 612.36 grams. If someone has gold and silver, combination of two, isn't it now? Combination of two zakatable wealths. किसके पास दोनों चांदी और सोना हो तो निसाब किस पर जाएगा? चांदी के ऊपर, 612.36 grams. Now if someone has gold, silver, currency, which I think majority of us probably in this room will be in this category, gold, silver and currency, the elders, the bazurks, gold, silver and currency, then the nisab is the silver nisab. You will work out your zakat according to the silver nisab, which is 612.36 grams. If you have gold, silver, currency plus business stock, the nisab will be the silver nisab, which is 612.36 grams. Any questions about this? This is fairly simple to understand, isn't it? Fakat gold sona ho, to just sona nisab. Just the, what's it, gold nisab. If you got mixed other combination of wealth, then the nisab will be the silver nisab. You understand this here? Samajh aa raha hai? Good. Now, conditions of zakat. Now, you must be baligh, adult, Muslim and sane. So, that's the 3 must conditions. Okay. And number 1, where we go down, sahibi nisab, reaching the threshold amount. And that threshold amount was 1,512, round about that amount today. If you have 1,512 pounds, more approximately, you become sahibi nisab. Number 2, mali nami, wealth that grows. Now, you're probably thinking if someone's got £2,000 in their bank, that £2,000 in their bank is classed as mali nami. Mal means wealth, nami means grow. Probably think that's just sitting in my bank, £2,000. How is that classed as mali nami? That wealth that's in your bank has the ability to grow if you use it for it to grow. You could invest that money, it could grow. So mali nami, okay, is wealth that grows. Gold, silver, all of that includes into mali nami. Wealth that grows. Mali nami means wealth that grows. Qabza, you have possession. Possession of the money, possession of the gold, the nisab that you have possession of those items. Extra from hajat asliya. Now, extra then from your needs. Now, the definition of needs, we will come ahead, but the definition of needs is that if you, for example, your requirement is that those items that you have, if you didn't have them, your day-to-day activities and your day-to-day lives will be difficult. That is your hajat asliya. That is your hajat, that is your need. So anything extra than your needs is not your hajat. For example, one house is hajat asliya. The second house is not hajat. Okay? One car is your hajat. One car is your need. 2, 3, 4, 5 cars is not your need. Okay? So someone's got 4 cars, 5 cars, okay, they're not your needs. 1 car is your need. So anything extra than 1, okay, is excluding your essentials, your needs. Like 1 phone now is classed as a need. Anything more than 1 phone, extra than 1 phone, is extra than your needs. Hajj Tasliya. What he uses on a general basis, that's what is going to be his. So, but then the one that he has, the only one that he uses generally, even if he uses all of them, but there's one that he would need to take as his need, and the rest will not be classed as Hajj Tasliya. So the only one will be Hajj his need, and the rest he will have to exclude it from his needs. And while we're discussing about this, we'll come ahead. There'll be no, if he owns 5 or 6 cars, it's not about any zakat on those. If it's the intention to sell, that's another mas'ala. It covers zakatable goods. But the reason why we are discussing extra than their needs is because when we see the definition of Sharif Fakir as well, it's so important that if they have extra things, like let's say for example, he has no money, okay, but he's got 3 cars. Just thinking, he's got 3 cars. He's got 3, 4 phones, okay? He has poor, but he's got other properties. He's got more than his hajat. He won't be eligible for taking the zakat because he's got more than, if you add it all together, equals more than the threshold amount. Even though he may not have the physical currency in his mind, in his hands, but he's got extra than his hajat, you shouldn't give him zakat. He's not eligible for zakat because he's got more than his hajat. So you must sell more than his hajat to fulfill his needs. If after selling what he's got extra, he comes below the threshold, then you give him zakat. This is why we're discussing extra from the Hajj Asliya. Because you might be thinking, why am I talking about 6 cars? He's using 6 cars. Why am I talking about, different houses? Okay, the reason I'm talking, we're going to come ahead when we come to the Shari Fakir, Shari Miskeen, and discuss that in detail, that who we give zakat to.
So let's say a man has his own car, then let's say he buys a car for his family and his child. So will that car be under the person who bought it to him? Or the child will give the child?
Whoever's the owner of the car is. Generally in the UK, someone will have to own the car. So whoever's the owner of the car. So if he says it's mine, or if he says it's gifted to his child, maybe his child's. If he says it's his, it's his. Extra than his original needs. Yeah, if he gives it to the child, then it's fine, then it'll be the child's ownership. Free from debt. We're going to come discuss about debt ahead. And 1 year has to pass. This 1 year has to pass is very, very important for a lot of the brothers who don't understand this 1 year has to pass. We'll discuss this in detail, inshallah. So Sahib-e-Nisab, okay, Nisab is the amount which is fixed by Sharia, which one person owns. Zakat becomes farz upon him or her. We've discussed this. So 612.36 grams today, 1,512 pound. Approximately, is if you have that much amount, you become Sahib-e-Nisab. You must now be giving zakat. You're eligible to give zakat. Okay? Any question upon the Sahib-e-Nisab amount? Or a genuine Sahib-e-Nisab? So I'm going to just go ahead. Is anyone writing it still? Okay, I'll give you about 30 seconds. Get as much as you can. Okay, going ahead. Male Nami. So Nami, wealth means the potential to grow. So the money you have in your bank, whether it's just £2,000, it's sitting there, but it has the potential to grow. So that is also zakatable as well. Qabza, that means that money to be in your possession, that you take from it as you wish when you want. It's not given to someone as a deposit or a guarantee. So it's your money, you have qabza, you can get it whenever you want. So you need to have ownership upon that at that time. Okay, so Male Nami, qabza. Extra from Hajat Asliya. So essential necessities, house to live in, necessary clothing for summer and winter, a vehicle food, grain, wheat, rice, blankets, utensil, mobile phone, laptop for the one who needs it. Or for example, if someone's like a builder, the tools that he has is his essentials. If someone's a mechanic, the things he uses at the garage, that's his essentials. Whatever your profession is, and you've got items for that profession, they're your essentials. You need that. That's your essential necessities. A house or plot on rent, this is not essential. Clothes beyond necessity. If someone's got about 20 pairs of tracksuit, so it's mentioned actually in books that what is the essential for clothing? 2 pairs for the winter and 2 pairs for the summer. That is enough. That is enough need. Anything more than that, that is excluding your hajat. Just 2 clothes for the winter, 2 clothes for the summer. That is enough. 2 जोड़े आप सर्दियों में, 2 जोड़े गर्मियों में, ये काफी है. उससे ज्यादा ये आपकी हाजत नहीं है. तो हमारे पास तो कितने जोड़े होंगे घर में? 20 जोड़े रखे हुए हैं, 10 जूतियां रखी हुई हैं. Now how much clothes and shoes we've got at home? How many jackets we've got? Different chadars we have. Waistcoats we've got so many. Suits we've got so many. So generally the basic need is 2 pairs of clothing, full pairs of clothing for the winter and 2 pairs of clothing for the summer. That is enough. उसके अब कफालत कर से एक पहना, दूसरे वॉश में, वो साफ हुआ, दूसरे को वॉश में डाल दिया, ऐसे पहने जाएं. Obviously, पर ये कौन अब करता है? No one really does that, do they? Okay, everyone's got, mashallah, Allah's given us, alhamdulillah, so much that we should thank Allah Almighty for it. We've got so much we have. Our family members, we've got a beautiful house, we've got a family, alhamdulillah. We should do shukr upon each and every ni'mat that Allah Almighty has given us. But there are people around the world that sometimes only have 1 pair of clothing, just only 1 kameez or 1 shalwar. Okay, they don't have a full shalwar kameez, or if they do, it's ripped. And look how much we've got in our cupboards at home. So clothes beyond necessity, a second vehicle, okay, all types of jewelry, including artificial, diamond, jewels, decorational items, they're all excluding your needs. Now, to understand your needs is if you didn't have it in your day-to-day activity, it would be difficult for you to live. Like a fridge freezer is essential. Having a gas cooker is essential. These are essential things. If you didn't have it, the day-to-day activities will be very, very difficult. Now, Hajj the Asliyah are those things which are usually needed, and without them you face serious difficulties. Free from debt. If there is any debt that you owe, so you will minus that from the total, and if it's so much that when deducted from the total, it comes below the nisab rate, so the zakat will no longer remain wajib upon you. We're going to discuss that in the next slide, inshallah. Okay, so if you look at the top, your gold is £200, okay, and currency is £100, business stock is £500. The total amount that you have is 6,200, and let's assume that today's rate is £240 for silver. So it's assuming. Now the debt is £6,000. Now how much have you got left after minusing the debt? Only £200. So there's no zakat. So you add everything on. You add everything: gold, currency, business stock. Okay, £6,200. But the कर्जा आपके पास है £6,000 कर्जा है. Okay, £6,000 you've got debt. You minus that £6,000 from your total, it is 6,200. You've got £200 left. The nisab for today, let's assume it's 240. Is £200 less than 240? Is it? Is £200 less than £240? Yes, it is. So there's no zakat. He doesn't have to pay anything. So he misses a year. He skips a year. Yes, sir? Yeah, we come ahead, inshallah. That mortgage will come, inshallah, at the end. The mortgage and everything, inshallah. So scenario 2, we have gold, currency, business stock. That is £6,200. So pay on zakat due date. So £155 zakat it will be. But debt given is £5,000. Now, if for example, you've given like £5,000, okay, to someone, debt given £5,000, तो आपने किसी को दिया है पैसे, असल में जो पैसे आपने किसी को दिए हैं वो आपकी मिल्कियत में ही है. If you've given someone money, okay, someone said यार मेरी मदद कर दो, 5,000 पाउंड दे दो, 10,000 पाउंड दे दो, आपने उसकी मदद की. और इस जमाने में तो ये है कि आप पूरा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लिखें, गवाह मौजूद हो, ये मुंह से ना दें. भाई को भी मुंह से देंगे वो कल इनकार कर देगा, कजन के मुंह से देंगे, दोस्त से मुंह के वो कल इनकार कर देगा. तो हम ऐसे कि हम बाज लोग ऐसे होते हैं ऐसे ही दे देते हैं, मगर शरई तौर पर ऐसा देना नहीं चाहिए. नापसंदीदा अमल है. लिखना चाहिए कि आपने कितना दिया है, कब वापस देंगे, गवाह भी मौजूद हो, सब कुछ लिखना चाहिए. और ये तारीख भी उनके माइंड में हो कि यार I'm going to give it back in this date. Like if you give someone money, someone comes knocks on your door, they need some money from you, and you give, let's say, £5,000. Generally, we just, if they're your brother, family member, whoever you trust so much, but when it comes to the matter of money, unfortunately, in this day and age, brothers become enemies as well. Unfortunately, this is unfortunate. Even though it shouldn't be the case, but even brothers become enemies due to money. Even if it's your own brother and he's even asking for you even a couple of £100, still write it down. Still write it down. If it's like £10-20, don't have to start writing £10-20 down. You can give it like that. But if it's quite a lot of rakam that will affect you as well, okay, a lot of amount that will affect you if you were to give, make sure you're writing it down. Get a binding contract, do something. Write something down, have witnesses there, have signatures done, that by this date you give me this money back. Now, if you've given someone £5,000, you've loaned someone £5,000, you've given someone aid and assistance, in actual fact, that £5,000 you've given is yours. ये आपके ही हैं. Even though हकीकतन ये आपके हाथ में नहीं है. आपने दिया है, मगर it is yours. आपको वापस मिलेंगे. उम्मीद है कि वापस मिलेंगे. मगर एक सूरत हाल में आपको नहीं देने की हाजत होगी. मिसाल के आपने 5,000 पाउंड दिया और 10 साल हो गए वो नहीं दे रहा, और आपको अभी ना उम्मीद होगी ये कभी भी नहीं देगा. There's no zakat on that. There's no zakat on that. कि आपने किसी को दिया है पैसे, आप पूछी गए 10 साल गुजर गए, 15 साल गुजर गए, इवन 15 साल के बाद भी आपको कुछ उम्मीद हो तो ये आपके लिए ज़कातबल है. मगर जब आपने किसी को रकम दिया, पैसे दिए, and you have no hope he's going to give it back, there's no zakat on that. If you have hope he will give it back, there's zakat upon that wealth. Now, how would you give it? The easiest option, okay, the easiest option will be is every year to include the amount in your zakat. Let's say £5,000 you've given. The best option is, easiest is you include it in your zakat, that £5,000. Or you could do is pay on the day when you receive it, but you got to pay for the rest as well. Let's say, for example, you gave someone £5,000, 5 years down the line, he gives you that £5,000 back. Now you've got to pay for this 5 years, there's £5,000 each and every year. So it is, you have to still give it, but the adaigi is not now, you could give it whenever. So I'll explain that in Urdu, कि आपने किसको 5,000 पाउंड दिए और 5 साल बाद उसने आपको ये 5,000 पाउंड दिए. तो जब आपको 5 साल बाद 5,000 पाउंड मिले तो 5 साल की ज़कात आपने पे करनी होगी. मगर बेहतर है हर साल ही दे दें. जब आपको उम्मीद है कि बंदा देगा 5 साल बाद, 3 साल बाद, 4 साल बाद, आप हर साल ही दे दें. जब आपको वसूल होगी, मिलेगी पूरा रकम, तो उस वक्त आपको पिछले साल को भी देनी पड़ेगी.
10 साल आपकी उम्मीद थी, आपने ज़कात हर साल दी है, अब 10 साल के बाद उम्मीद खत्म हो गई है, तो जो ज़कात उसकी दे दी है वो क्या refund application दे सकते हैं?
So yes, so definitely I think we have to ask that question to Mufti Sab, if we can include that zakat in like the extra zakat that you're given, you can hand it on to the next year. So I think Mufti Sab best confirm the answer.
You mentioned about the 5 years, say the £5,000. Let's say after 5 years you receive the full amount, how do you calculate this out?
So you basically, £5,000 is generally above the threshold anyway. So let's say, for example, each and every year you should be calculating the threshold amount and writing it down as well. That I've from 2019, 2020, 2021, what is the threshold amount for that day? You should always write it down. Keep it safe in your files, on your phone. Write it down, the threshold amount for that day. Then you go back and work it out. You normally should have all the figures. This is why for zakat, we need to have everything written down. You should keep everything stored, written down. How much zakat have I gave in 2019? Have that written down. Don't just like once give it. हर कुछ लिखना चाहिए. Zakat लिखना चाहिए कि 2019, 2020 में कितना दिया है. उस zakat amount कितना था, nisab amount कितना था. You should have it written down each and every year. So you can work it out like that. Or you can go back and you probably can find the silver rate for that date as well. Probably find it on Google anyway, somehow. Okay, we... जी जी जो आपको जब हाँ तो आप ऐसा हर साल आपको सिल्वर निसाब लिखें, अपने पास होना चाहिए हर साल के कितना निसाब है, कोई फाइल रखें मौजूद हो, सब चीजों के फाइल रखते, ज़कात के भी फाइल रख लें. You know, at home you'll have like letters, important documents. तो ज़कात भी important है, ज़कात is very important. उसकी भी घर में document होनी चाहिए. There should be a document at home just for zakat. That this year I've given this zakat, this year this happened, this year this happened, this happened, this happened, this is how much zakat I gave, this was a zakatable wealth.
We're not just do 5,000 divided 40 every year.
Yeah, you could do that 5,000 divided by 40. But I think what brother was asking, if for example, let's say, how would you know the nisab amount? Let's say next year it goes to, the nisab goes to 5,500. So that's what I think he was asking regarding that, like why would you work it out? Well, yeah, 5,000 divided by 40, how to work out the full amount, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala. So, 1 year to pass. Now, when you work out your zakat, you work the zakat out according to the Islamic calendar. Zakat, you work out according to the Islamic calendar. You do not work the zakat out according to the Gregorian calendar, the solar calendar. You don't work the zakat out like that. So it's either Muharram, Safar, Rabiul Awwal, those Islamic months. You do not work the zakat out from January, February, March, April, May. It is haram. Sayyidi Ala Hazrat Rahimullah Ta'ala has written in Fatawa Razaviyah Sharif, if someone works the zakat out according to the solar calendar, this is haram. Allahu Akbar. And so many of our brothers in our community, they say in Bas Ramzan mein hi dete hain. Now, the mentality to give in Ramadan, I don't know how it's come, or it can come basically think, oh, Ramzan mein zyada sawab hai, to Ramzan mein hum dete hain. Does that mean everyone became rich in Ramadan? Everyone became sahib nisab in Ramadan? I don't think so. हर शख्स के मुख्तलिफ तारीख होते हैं कि मिसाल के तौर पर कैसे वर्कआउट करेंगे कि आगे आएगा कि आपको पहली इतनी रकम कब मिली थी कि आप साहब निसाब हो. Look at your first wage slip. Go back at your first wage slip, or when you was working, how much did you earn? Obviously, we know that from in 2019 it was £248. Let's say in 2019 you earned, let's say £250 1 week. You are now sahib nisab. Okay, from 2019. So you have to go back to see when your first wage slip is, when you first started working, when you first had a lot of that threshold amount. And let's say aapko yaad nahi hai, when you had that amount of money where you became rich, then it's best to fix a date. And if you want to fix 15th Sha'ban, you want to fix the 1st of Ramadan, the 25th of Ramadan, 27th of Ramadan, you fix it. You need to have a date. आपके पास तारीख ना हो, आप गुनाहगार होंगे. तारीख आपको मुअय्यन करनी पड़ेगी. You have to fix a date कि इस तारीख से कबल मैं पूरी ज़कात की अदायगी कर दूंगा. So every single person needs to have a date. तो आप जा किसी के पास तारीख ना हो तो आप 27th of Ramadan रख लें, 25th of Ramadan रख लें, 1st Ramadan रख लें. So keep that date for your zakat. If you say, oh, Ramazan आएगा उससे हम देख लेंगे. No, this is not valid. You need to fix a date. Okay? Or आपको पता Ramazan comes back every like 10 days. So if you go according to the English calendar, your date's going to be changing. You need to fix one date. So if those brothers that don't have a fixed date in their mind, take the 27th of Ramadan, 25th of Ramadan, और जो पहले देना चाहते 15 शाबान का डेट रख लें, पहली रमजान की डेट रख लें, 10वीं रमजान की डेट रख लें, मगर it needs to be according to the Islamic calendar. ये याद रखें. जो आपको इल्म नहीं है कि आपकी वेज स्लिप कितनी थी पहले, अब कब साहिब निसाब हो, तो आपको फिर अपनी तारीख मुअय्यन करनी पड़ेगी. इसके बगैर इजाजत नहीं है, ये गुनाहगार बंदा होगा, be sinful. So make sure you fix the date. Now delaying after the full year passes. Let's say for example, the date is 15th of Sha'ban. And you think, oh, do you know what, it's only 15 days left to Ramadan. I'll just give you in Ramadan. You are not allowed to do that. You have to pay before your date. If you think, yeah, Ramzan में ज़्यादा स्वाब है, 15 दिन की ताखीर हो जाती है ज़कात की, कोई मसला नहीं है. मसला है, गुनाह है, हराम है. It's impermissible. You need to give it according to your date. Very, very important that we fix that date and stay in that date. Now, if you want to give advance, ज़कात में आपने advance ज़कात देनी है. आप 5 साल की भी दे सकते हैं, 3 साल की भी दे सकते हैं, 10 साल की भी दे सकते हैं. आप ज़कात पहले अदा कर सकते हैं, मगर ताखीर नहीं कर सकते. 5 साल की ज़कात दे सकते हैं, 15 साल की ज़कात दे सकते हैं, मगर आपने हर साल चेक करना कि क्या मैंने सही ज़कात दी है और ये ज़कात डेट. ये ना हो कि आप 10 साल ज़कात चुक के दे दें और आपको ज्यादा देनी पड़ेगी एक साल में. Like you count between one of those years that you have to give something extra. So even let's say you give 10 years of zakat in advance, okay, still every year check you how much zakat you need to give. That doesn't mean you've given 10 years and you just leave it now. No, you still must check every single year if you've given the right amount of zakat. So very, very important. You can give advance zakat, but you cannot delay zakat. Advance zakat you can give, but you cannot delay zakat. Increase, decrease during the year. I'll explain that on the next slide. I've already explained that. The business stock valued at the end of the year. So whatever business stock you have, close to the end of your year, you do the value and you also give zakat upon that. Even if you received wealth one day before, okay? Let's say the 15th of Sha'ban is your zakat date. 14th of Sha'ban, someone gives you £2,000. That is still zakatable. वो साल के अंदर अंदर है. Okay? Now you'll understand this in more detail.
When you said business stock value, is that the cost price value or the selling price value?
It depends. If you're a retailer, then there'll be the retail value. If you're selling, then it'll be according to the selling value. It depends on what your profession is. Like you have retail shops as well, and you have what's it called, people that actually give out stock as well. It depends on whichever profession you are in terms of the business.
अभी आप कह रहे हैं जैसे मेरे पास माल आया 15 शवाल, ठीक है, अब वो चलता गया और मेरे पास बड़ा अच्छा माल है. अभी मेरा जब निसाब जैसे वो करीब आ गया डेट ज़कात का, उससे पहले वो मेरा लॉस हो गया.
अभी आ रहा है, सब कुछ आ रहा है, ये अभी समझाता हूँ इधर से. Okay, so scenario 1, okay, assuming the zakat amount is £240, okay, so Muharram, okay, let's say 10th of Muharram, £240. Now, Safar, £500. Remember, we're going through the Islamic calendar. This is why we all need to know the Islamic calendar as well. Safar, £500 in total you had. Then Rabiul Awwal, 150. Rabiul Thani, 250. Jamad al-Ula, 100. Jamad al-Ukhra, you had 700. It went up, Rajab, 900, 950, 700, 800, 900, 950. Then in Muharram, you had £1,000. And the nisab is £240. Do you have more than the nisab? Yes. So now you will give zakat 1,000 divided by 40, which is £25 you give in zakat. £25 you give in zakat. Scenario 2. Okay, so now whatever happens in and out, whether you go £100, then you go £500, £600, साल के दौरान में ऊपर नीचे हो जाए, we're not bothered unless, this is the unless scenario. Okay, so £240 you started off with, Safar £500. Now Rabiul Awwal, you had £0, nothing. You had £0, nothing. You had no wealth upon you. Okay, you literally they came bankrupt, nothing you had. Now what happens is the previous zakat year has now become cancelled. It cancels the previous zakat year out. Now once you have such amount of money that you reach to the threshold, your zakat year starts again. So now here, this is aapka jawab mil gaya hai. So in Rabiul Thani now you get £250. Now your new zakat date is in Rabiul Thani now. Let's say 11th Rabiul Thani, then you go up, then Jamad al-Ula, you have 100, 700, going up and down, up and down. Now you're not going to give your zakat in Muharram now. You're going to give it when? In Rabiul Thani. So now you have £1,000, you're giving Rabiul Thani, okay? and then you give that £25 because you've got £1,000 then. Okay, nisab rate will always fluctuate. Okay, keep that in mind, which stays at the top. Okay, we got less time. Okay, what time is Asr Jamaat? Okay, what time are we on? Okay, inshallah, me the next 5 to 10 minutes I'll try and finish, inshallah. So, zakat, calculate zakat. Now, you have gold, okay? So let's say gold, silver, currency, trade goods is all £25,000 you have. That's gold, silver, currency, and trade goods. But the debt you have is £10,000. So you will minus that 10,000 from the 25,000, which leads to £15,000. And you do a £15,000 divided by 40, and the zakat you will give is £375. That's how much zakat you will give. Now, student loan is, so when there's two types of loans. There's one which is demanded straight away, and there's a loan which you don't, even if you don't pay, you never need to give it back. Like for a student loan, for example, that's not a debt. So student loan doesn't hinder zakat. You don't minus student loan. Because even there's a certain amount of threshold you have to earn, that's when you start giving it back. If you don't even earn to that threshold, and so many years pass, you don't even give that student loan back. So there's a fatwa mawjood, okay, that mentions that student loan doesn't hinder zakat. So whether you got a student loan, it doesn't affect it. However, if it's such like a mortgage that you pay, that mortgage, you can't miss those payments. That is that type of payment that you got to pay on a monthly basis. You can't miss that. But student loan, not the case. Student loan doesn't hinder zakat. जी हाँ, कमेटी डालते हैं, वो आपकी रकम में उसको भी ज़कात होगी. तो 5,000 उसने वापस देना है और उसने 10,000 पाउंड आपको दे दिया है, तो वो आपके 5,000 कर्जा होगा, उसको वापस देना पड़ेगा. तो ये आपके ऊपर कर्जा है, वो डिडक्ट होगी, आपके ऊपर. So with car finance and with mortgages, वो आखिर में आएगा, वो car finance mortgage का, वो आपको आगे इंशाल्लाह समझाएंगे with in that type of amount. We'll just quickly go ahead inshallah, because I don't want to take too much time because we've got to do the adhan as well. So now the people that you give zakat to, okay, the two we're just going to focus on today is the fakir and miskeen. Now, what is the definition of a fakir and a miskeen? Fakir is someone who is not sahibi nisab, who doesn't reach the threshold amount, even though he may have some money like gold, he may have a little bit of silver, may have a little bit of money, or nor does he have any extra than his goods in his possession, other than Hajj Asliya that can't get to the nisab amount, then he is a fakir. Let's say, for example, someone's got just 200, someone's got £200 on him. Okay, that's it. And he's got, let's say, £200 worth of gold, £200 worth of silver. Now, obviously, in the UK, the threshold amount is, what's it called, 1,500. Okay, so now he's less than the nisab. He is eligible for taking zakat. However, if he's got like a car, if he's got 2 cars, if he's got a phone, now if you add that all together, the value of the phone, a second phone, the value of the second car, now it reached to £2,000. Even though he has £800 that you can see that wealth, but he's got £2,000 of other extra things. That's 2,800. You can't give him zakat. Even though he has less money, he has gold, little bit of gold, little bit of silver, he's got less, but he's got things excluding his Hajj Asliya. He's not a Sharif Fakir. Now, when we give zakat, especially to Sharif Fakir, now it's not essential for us to say to him, yeah, show me your bank account. We don't have to say that. As long as you see his Surat Hal, आपने पूछा है कि सूरत हाल आपने पूछी है कि देखा है आपने गम से गम गलबा ज़न है that this guy is a Sharif Fakir, As long as you think and you don't tafakkur, contemplated, and you've given him zakat, your zakat will happen. Later on you find out he's got 10,000 pounds in the bank, it will not affect you. But if you just ऐसे लोग दे देते हैं, पूछते नहीं, you just people give it like that. आपने तफक्कुर नहीं किया, तदब्बुर नहीं किया, आपने सोचा नहीं, आपने ऐसे ही दे दिया, आपकी zakat नहीं होगी. You need to think, contemplate. You shouldn't make it uncomfortable. Don't make the fakir uncomfortable. Okay? If you look at his conditions, the Surat Hal, okay, you can give him zakat. As long as you've contemplated, that's fine. A miskin is someone who has no money at all. He doesn't know the next meal if he's going to get or not. He's a destitute person. And for him, it's halal to beg. He can beg. But for a fakir, he's not allowed to beg. A fakir is not allowed to beg. It's haram for a fakir to beg. A miskin is halal for him to beg. He can beg. Okay, Shari Fakir, gold, silver, currency, business stock, plus value of extra possessions. If it's above the nisab, you can't give him zakat. If it's below the nisab, okay, you can give him zakat. This is where Hati Asliya comes in this, is when working out the Shari Fakir, whether he's a Shari Fakir or not. Okay? Now, conditions when giving zakat, okay, to give in the name, you can give zakat in the name of a gift. Like आप कह सकते हैं कि यार आपके ये तोहफा है. You don't need to say that is a zakat. आप तोहफा भी कह सकते हैं और आप खुद zakat की नीयत कर लें. आपकी zakat हो जाएगी. You can say gift, but in your heart you have intention of zakat. Okay? To give those who are eligible, okay, as mentioned previously, you can't give zakat to, for example, sponsoring a hafiz, or giving for someone's medication, or feeding the poor, graveyard, hospital, masjid, madrasa. You can't give zakat upon those places. Now, who can you give zakat to? Who can you not give zakat to? Let's say we imagine you in the middle, that's you. You can give zakat to your brother. You can give zakat to your uncle, auntie, kala, kalu, all these guys. Okay, you can give it to your popo, whoever, maternal, paternal, aunts, uncles, you can give it to them. Sister, you can give it to. Nephew, nieces, you can give it to them as well. But you can't give it to your wife. Zakat, you can't give it to your wife, and you can't give it to your asul and furu. What does asul mean? For example, your mother, grandmother, father, grandfather, great-great-grandmother, great-great-grandfather, you can't give it to them. You can't give it to your daughter, granddaughter, son, grandson, great-great-grandson, you can't give it to them. Okay? So keep that in mind. And we're coming to our last slide, frequently asked questions. Now, this is the last thing I'm going to go through, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala. Zakat on haram money. There's no zakat on haram money. What is zakat? Remember what did I say at the start? You're taking that filth of your wealth to purify the rest of it. If you got haram money, how can something which is meant to cleanse the wealth, how can it cleanse haram money? So zakat on haram money, okay, there's no zakat on it. Okay, mortgage and loans. Now, regarding mortgage and loans, now, mortgage obviously is very, get a house in the UK, it's very, very expensive. Okay, most of us have got mortgages. I don't think there's very rarely if someone can afford to buy the property out like that. Now, regarding mortgages, okay, Mufti Shamsul Huda Misbahi Sahab has mentioned that the monthly payments that you do, okay, let's say for example, you have £10,000 in total. The monthly payments of your mortgage is £500. Now, 500 times 12 is £6,000. £500 times 12 is £6,000. You minus the yearly outgoings of that mortgage from £10,000, it equals £4,000. Then upon £4,000 is your zakat. You only pay zakat upon £4,000, which will be £100. Okay, which will be £100. This is how you work it out with the mortgages that we currently have. The yearly and the monthly mortgage that you pay, you can minus that. Okay, any, for example, let's say you're giving zakat a few weeks in advance. Let's say on the 15th of Sha'ban, you're giving your zakat, but you want to give it on the 1st of Sha'ban. But on the 10th of, Sha'ban, your gas bill's coming out. Your electric bill's coming out. Your phone bill's coming out. Your, car insurance is coming out. You can minus all of that, what is coming out, okay? not what's already gone. What have you already paid? That's gone. What is coming out before you're going to give your zakat, you can minus those bills as well. Okay? Due bills you can minus before your zakat date. If you've already paid it, it's gone. So you're not going to minus the whole years. If you pay gas monthly, you've already paid your previous months. You're not going to minus that now. Whatever will be the upcoming month's bill that approximately you get on a monthly basis, or you got a fixed rate that you pay on a monthly basis, then you can minus that before your zakat date. And whatever's left over, you give zakat upon that. So giving medicine, etc., zakat, you can't give that. Okay? You have to make the Shari Fakir the owner. Okay? You make him the owner. If he wants to buy medications, he can do so what he wants to do with the money. Okay? You have to make him the owner. You can't say, okay, yeah, I'll give you medication. You take this medication. No, you have to make him the owner.
So let's say like for my zakat is due on the 3rd of Shaban, on the 18th I'm due to travel to Pakistan. On the 15th of Shaban, and I put that money aside so that when I go to Pakistan I can take it down and give it to you.
So that's a really good question. Now, if for example you already got money aside, or you even give it money to the wakil, a representative, this is Quduri Sharif Juzia as well, and I'll speak to one of the ustads as well. If you got money aside just for zakat, okay, this is your zakat amount, okay, then you kept this just for zakat with the intention of zakat, and when you go, you can pay to give zakat, okay? So as long as you've taken out in advance that this is the amount of zakat, then you can go and give that people who are eligible for zakat. But it's best if you give it before your zakat date. As long as you've taken it out, that is your zakat. You've taken it out. Yeah, zakat ki rakam hai, you're taking it out. If you're just playing about, you don't know what's going on, you need to have it out in advance before your zakat date. That this is my zakat. I need to pay as soon as possible.
वैसे ये जो अभी हम लोग यहाँ को आते हैं जैसे जो हम लोग टैक्स देते हैं फिर हमारा ज़कात का भी टाइम आता है तो फिर वो सारी कैलकुलेट करना पड़ेगा जो ज़कात जो हम टैक्स नहीं देते हैं
वो टैक्स ऑब्वियसली आपके जिम्मे से गया है, वो गवर्नमेंट के पास ही है टैक्स, मगर जो आपका जो नेट वेज है जो आपको आखिर मिलता है जो मेन आपके बैंक में जाता है उतना ही आपके होगा. जी जी. People save money for Hajj and marriages. People think यार मैं हज पे जाऊंगा, मैंने पैसे सेव करने, उसके ऊपर भी ज़कात है. Even if you're saving for Hajj, you're saving for your daughter's wedding, your son's wedding, if it's 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, you're saving it, you have to still give zakat on the amount. Okay? There's no zakat on diamonds, okay? And there's no zakat on someone's wearing like diamonds and rings and jewelry. There's no zakat on that type of jewelry except for gold and silver. Okay? Any other questions before we go for the adhan, inshallah? जी. नहीं, वो आप जैसे जब ज़कात देते हैं तो हमको फकीर को, हाँ जी सर, आप तोहफे की भी नियत से दे सकते हैं कि आपके ये तोहफा, मगर आपके दिल में ज़कात, जी 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 जी. नहीं, दरअसल इसकी इजाजत क्यों है कि उसकी बाजू का लोग समझते कि यार मुझे ज़कात दे रहा है तो उसकी बाजू का लोग दिल आज़ारी समझते हैं. इसी वजह से शरीयत ने इजाजत दी कि आप तोहफा भी कह के आपके दिल में ज़कात की नियत हो, आपकी ज़कात हो जाएगी. तो आगे बंदे को परेशानी ना हो कि यार मुझे ज़कात दे रहा है, मैं ऐसा हूँ. फिर इसी वजह से शरीयत ने इजाजत दी है कि आप तोहफा कह के आप खुद ज़कात की नियत करें, आपकी ज़कात हो जाएगी. देने वाला अगर पूछे कि ये ज़कात तो हम क्या कहेंगे, तो ऑब्वियसली उस मौके पर फिर आप सोचे कि क्या कहेंगे आप.
जो पूछ रहा है वो ज़्यादा तेज बंदा तो उसको ज़कात का तो आपको दे देगा.
I think obviously if money is going to come and help is going to come, I don't think no one's going to reject it. जी जी हाफिज़ साहब. Subhan, there's Dawat Islami की वेबसाइट में Yorkshire, Dawat Islami Yorkshire के अकाउंट में वो ज़कात कैलकुलेटर है, वो उसको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. तो बाद में जब फैज़ान मदीना नॉटिंघम में देना चाहे आप दे सकते हैं इंशाल्लाह.
ये इनकी बात में वैसे गलत है. किसी को जैसे कोई बंदा तोहफे इतने ले लिए हैं उसने, अब वो खुद ही साहिब निसाब होके पे हम उसको कहते हैं ये गिफ्ट, अब उसको डाउट हो गया यार ये गिफ्ट नहीं है ज़कात दे रहा है,
कंफ्यूजिंग है,
वो
कंफ्यूजिंग है,
कंफ्यूजन में उसको फिर
इस बात में कंफ्यूजिंग है, ये क्लियर करें आप।
दरअसल वो जो है कि आप जहाँ ज़कात कहना चाहे आप कह सकते हैं, मगर आपको इजाजत है आप तोहफा भी कह सकते हैं।
वो हमें कहेगा तुम हमें ज़कात दे रहे हो, ठीक है ना, हम तो इसको खो दे रहे हैं, हमें पता हम ज़कात दे रहे हैं उसको,
जी जी,
हम तो झूठ बोल रहे हैं ना।
नहीं नहीं, देखें ये आप तोहफे की दरअसल इसी वजह वो मैंने समझाया कि उसको बुरा ना लगे, तभी शरीयत ने इजाजत दी है, इसको बुरा ना लगे तभी शरीयत ने इजाजत दी है।
ज़कात है तो आप कहें हाँ ये ज़कात है।
चाहे वो ज़कात पूछता है कि ज़कात है, कह दे ज़कात है। जैसे वो आगे वाला इतना, हमने तो नहीं कभी आया कि आगे वाला इतना पूछता है कि जब उसको पैसे रकम मिल रहे हैं। अभी बाद में इंशाल्लाह।